Hi, I'm Chris Ippolito, and welcome to the Get Coached podcast, where I'm documenting my journey from employee to entrepreneur while featuring the coaches that are helping me along the way. Each episode, these coaches provide actionable advice to help me and you, the audience, find more success as entrepreneurs. I invite you to join the journey so we can go and grow together. This is episode 16 of the Get Coached podcast, and in this episode, I got a chance to chat with Marques Ogden, who is a best-selling author, keynote speaker, former NFL athlete, and business coach. And what we talked about was very relevant to what a lot of people are going through right now, which is how to succeed in times of crisis. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Marques Ogden. Hi, Marques.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I am doing great. How are you?
Doing well. Can't complain, Chris. Just, another day, Sunday, it feels like a normal day because what's going on in the world, I can't go anywhere, but it's one of those days.
Yeah, we are definitely going through some interesting times. I wanted to welcome you and thank you for being on the Get Coached podcast. Your book was a lot of fun. When we originally connected, I think about a month ago.
About a month ago, yeah.
Yeah. And I learned a little bit about your story. I wanted to dig into it more. And thankfully your book really goes into it, but I'd love for you to give a nice summary of that journey you've been on, because it is quite incredible. I think a lot of people will relate with it, and it kind of ties into what we're going to be talking about today.
So I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I played football at Howard University. I played in the National Football League for about almost 6 seasons with the Jaguars, Ravens, Bills, and the Titans. I got out of football at 27 and a half years old. I was not really prepared for it. I had some really tough times transitioning, dealing with, withdrawal and not being in the game and losing all of my camaraderie and good friends and a lot of that social interaction. So I fell into a deep depression for about 6 months. I got out of that part of my life, and I finally found a construction business, and I grew it to the largest African-American subcontracting business in the city of Baltimore and state of Maryland for 2 years. Ended up losing that business in 2013, having to file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Our home was foreclosed on. Both the cars were repossessed in the same day. I got down to Raleigh in April 2013 with $400 to my name. That's all I had. And I was working a couple different jobs and got fired from those jobs in the same week. And I actually ended up taking a job as a custodian, making $8 an hour in downtown Raleigh. And then I had my life-changing moment, and I said I'm going to be a keynote speaker. And I worked hard and I pushed myself, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm a national and international keynote speaker, executive coach, best-selling author, and workshop and corporate trainer.
Yeah, an absolute awesome journey that you've gone through all those different challenges. The one thing that I learned about your story was how you found out you were no longer a part of I can't remember the team it was now, but when you basically are let go from the NFL, you had shared in your book that your key card just doesn't work anymore.
Doesn't work. With the Titans. When I was my last stop, that's when I hurt my back. And I was able to then go in and get a settlement. I was done. But that's what happens in some places, like your key card doesn't work. So that, if that doesn't work, you tell the guard, and the guard will tell you, go see this coach. And they call that coach the Grim Reaper. When, it could be like a position coach. Something that might be like the strength coach. Like they make the strength coach go and tell the player, go see the head coach, go see the position coach, bring your book with you. You're not going to be on the team anymore. And, that's a really difficult task to do for that individual, that coach, because you don't like seeing guys you like have to go home. But that's what happens, man. Sometimes your key card doesn't work. Other teams, it might work. You're in your locker getting ready, and they come and tap you on the shoulder. Go see coach, bring your playbook. It happens that fast.
Yeah, I found that mind blowing. That is the method that maybe that's all the teams, or maybe it was just that organization. It sounded like the way you described it was that's kind of just the way they
team
do
by
it.
team.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring up that specific story was, first, I didn't know that. So that was incredibly illuminating in the sense it was also kind of like, well, man, that's rude. However, the biggest reason I wanted to bring it up is you kind of made reference to it right now. We are, as a world, going through a very interesting time right now. So depending when the audience ends up listening to this, we'll just make reference to it. But we're currently going through the COVID-19 pandemic, and the way that's impacting the world is economically, in the sense of a lot of people are without jobs because of downsizing or various reasons, or their income has just been drastically reduced. So I wanted for us to have that conversation, because you've gone through some really difficult times where your income, like you said, with the business, it was gone. And you went from massive business that was very profitable to something different to earn a living. So do you mind sharing a little bit of kind of like the mindset that you learned and adopted and now teach people, as far as like how to get through these types of crisis, basically? Like I think that's what we could really call it.
That's what it is. It's a global crisis. So when I was a custodian working in downtown Raleigh in 2013, I had a pivotal moment where someone's trash got on my bare skin, closed body about 4:30 in the morning in downtown Raleigh. And again, just like you mentioned earlier, so many people are either going to lose their job. I saw an article, almost 4 million people are going to be going to unemployment line on Monday. 4 million people. And a lot of people's salaries are gone. They're going to collect unemployment. They're going to be very reduced if they get anything at all. And when I was in that position in 2013, Chris, that was me. Like, I went from being a multi-millionaire business owner, worked for Merrill Lynch for a short time, got fired. Construction company, made about $1,000 a week or whatever, got fired. I made $8 an hour. I was making like $1,000 a week after everything, to making $311 a week after everything. And what I had to figure out is, okay, what are you doing? And that pivotal moment made me really sit down and analyze. Like COVID-19 should make people analyze, okay, what am I doing? And how can I put myself in a better position that I can help other people with what they need and still be able to survive and be able to take care of my family? And so for me, that moment made me realize that I'm relying on other people because I have no accountability of my own life. And at that moment, I continued to work other jobs, the custodian job, training kids in football, all this type of stuff. I ran a 7-on-7 football league, with the youth. And I did all that. Those were my jobs, right, Chris, to pay the bills. My always long-term wealth plan to create something where I could eventually leave those and then make money and then create a wealth and a legacy through positive interaction was speaking. So I'm going to challenge people right now. What are you really good at? For example, I was talking to a young lady on Friday. She was let go from a company, was doing really well in sales. She thought it was personal, whatever. After having a discussion with her, and I said, why'd you reach out to me? I said, why did this tell you had some contacts? And I got this copy here to talk. I said, you don't want to go back to corporate America, do you? She said, no, I really don't. I want to be a consultant. I said, well, if you want to be a consultant, you'll invest with me to help you learn how to position yourself to be a massively successful diversity and inclusion consultant to companies that you're targeting in a certain industry, which I have great contacts in that industry. So I challenge her to go home and write down her goals, what's important to her, what are her values, and what habits are around those values. And then we're going to talk on Friday. If you want me to be your coach, you'll sign up for the program. You'll invest in your future. You'll get a great ROI by the time we're finished and move forward. So many people right now are panicking because they don't have what they're used to coming in. Well, this is where you have to get creative. I saw somebody put something up about Charles Darwin. It's not the strongest of the species that survive or the smartest. It's the ones that can adapt and the ones that can change to what's going on around them.
Yeah, very true statement. The ability to, and in a different way of saying it, is the ability to learn, but then unlearn and relearn is a skill set that's incredibly important, and especially in a time like this. And though obviously we're making reference to a current crisis, it doesn't matter whether it's COVID-19 or you lose your business or whatever it is. People go through a crisis in
All
their
the
own
time.
respect. That's right. This one is just is quite different because obviously it's impacting a lot of people.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
So when one of the things that you'd kind of mentioned there that I want to dig in and really stress the importance, because you mentioned it in your book, is the importance of a day job. So yes, a lot of people are going to be losing their current day job, but there are still opportunities out there to find employment. It may not be in that space that you're used to. It may not pay the same amount that you used to, but there are still opportunities there. And I was hoping you could share your perspective as far as why a day job is so important while you're building that legacy to take care of the family.
This is an excellent question, Chris. So first things first is I did not plan to be a custodian. Didn't plan on that. You know, I was working at Merrill Lynch, got fired, went to a construction company. After 5 days, the company made a close of its sales division. I got fired, right? Again, I kept adapting. And then I was training football to kids, which I was used to, making okay money, not great, okay. But then I realized a lot of my kids were going to be what? In football season. So if they're in football season, then I could be what? Doing any football training. That is to get you ready for the season. One of my clients who I coached her son in private lessons said, hey, Marques, I have a custodian business that I clean apartment buildings downtown Raleigh. If you know anybody wants the job, let me know. I said, what is it paying? She said, $8 an hour. I said, what are the hours? Night shift. I couldn't find anywhere else, Chris, at the time that could hire me right away, right? Everybody's like, you got to go through the process. You have to file out an application and get interviewed. I needed money the next week. So when she made the opportunity, I said, how long will it take you to hire someone? She said, if it's the right person, I'll hire them today. I said, well, I'm your person. She said, what? Yeah, I need a job. I need extra income to support my family. That's what I need. Now, the funny thing is, when I took that job, I didn't really have a vision, right? I didn't really have that. I was grabbing at what to do next to bring money in. But when I took the job and I had that pivotal moment and I felt the embarrassment because this trash was on my skin, the milk, I just felt such a low point in my life. That was the point that made me say, wow, I need to do something different. Because if I don't do something different, I'm always going to be working just the day job. You need the day job. You should work the day job. But if you want more out of life, be the person that has people come to your day job, right? Or be someone that can set your own hours and go to people's day jobs at the schedule that you set, not when them telling you have to be there. And so that's what I did. And I found speaking. So for me, that day job, which I need to keep the lights on, keep my wife from not throwing me out of the house, keep me from putting food on the table, right? You need that. And this is what people get misconstrued. I told it in my book. It's 95 hours a week. It's not a 9 to 5 if you want to build a business. Because you want to build an empire, the 9 to 5 is you taking care of the stuff for the household. Then you should work about usually from 7 to 11 or 7 to 12 on your long-term vision. Repeat. And that's what I end up doing. But again, the day job is so important because you need it to keep things moving. So as you are pursuing wealth and your legacy with your career and passion, you can fund things that you need to take care of your personal responsibilities.
Yeah, the reason that resonated so much with me was I just recently went back to having a day job. Though for me, the dream was always like, well, if I can build something that can sustain the lifestyle that we want at a minimum, then maybe that still frees me up to pour more energy into the business. But it just got to a point where it was like, you know what, the day job, that's a job is the fastest way to earning consistent, steady income. Right. And that was the mindset that I had to go into it with, was this is the fastest way for me to get a good income, while then building the other thing on the side that will eventually turn into income, so that I can free myself, right?
And get your time back.
Yeah, one of the quotes out of your book that I loved and have written it down. I actually collect quotes in a couple journals and whatnot. So your day job will pay your bills, your hard work will create your success.
Yeah.
Loved it. Simple.
Think about this. Think about Chris. It took me 2.5 years to get my first paid speaking job. What am I going to tell my wife or my landlord or my rent or my light company while I'm pursuing? Hey guys, please don't charge me right now. I'm pursuing this amazing keynote speaking career. It's going to pan out. Don't worry. When it does, I'll take care of my backload rent. Yeah, right. Evicted, lights off, no food. So I always learned that as a male, you need to take care of your family all day long. That's what I always learned. So the job was funding the consistency of our household. But it was a lot of work because I did trainings in the morning for kids. I was a custodian for 6 months from September until March of 2014. I trained kids during the day or morning, depending upon their schedule, right, during season. I was custodian at graveyard shift in the evening time, well, late evenings to early morning. Then I was really out trying to market and grow for my new spring 7-on-7 league, trying to get registrations, trying to get people to buy teams. I was trying to get people to give sponsorship, all that, while on the side trying to build my speaking career, trying to go do free events, Boys and Girls Club, middle school teams, high school teams, trying to get build up my archive. Every speaker has an archive, consists of a website, videos, testimonials, and a client list. If you don't have those 4 things, do not expect to get paid as a speaker or consultant, because no one's going to invest dollars with you unless you're like Magic Johnson, Damon John, where you're a celebrity and they're paying for your fame, not your actual message.
Yeah, very true. And that advice even expands out to a lot of different types of businesses. So digital marketing was an area that I'm still pursuing as far as building a source of income from. And the recommendation from a lot of the authorities that I was learning from was go and do the work for free so that you can build up a portfolio, right? Like paying clients are going to look at you and go, why should I give you money? Like, where's the proof that you can actually do that thing that you're saying you can do? Well,
that job, that ability. Yeah, that's the same thing with speaking. Like my first paid job was through Miller Mock College in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I got paid for that one $1,500. So I remember that. That's what it was like, having to go out and I only got that job after my first book came out. And that helped give me a platform. And then I had to keep leveraging. And then I did some more free stuff like New York Life or MetLife. And I kept getting, I would do a free event in exchange for a testimonial or reference letter. I put it on my website, and I can use this in my marketing. I use this part of my collateral. And I just kept going and going to the point where like everybody's like, okay, this guy's not bad. He's got all these companies. He's got this organization. Here's his video. Here's his website. Okay, Marcus, all right, what's your fee? $10,000. Okay, where's the contract? Let's go to work. But I didn't get there by, hey, hire me. I thought for that first 2.5 years, I'm a former NFL athlete. Everybody will want me. Yeah, no. They didn't care about that. They cared about what message can you bring that's going to give my team action steps, get from A to Z and beyond. If you can't do that, you play in the NFL, congratulations, happy for you. That does not equate you getting in front of my team to speak. And once I lost that mentality and started getting out the hard work and studying my craft, taking advice and getting things going, then the paid jobs with consistency started coming in on a regular basis, 5,000, 10,000, and so forth.
Yeah, I think the biggest lesson learned from what you just shared there that I needed to take away was you don't necessarily, it doesn't always have to be an exchange of money for services. There's still value in getting those testimonials, the videos, the reviews, whatever it is. And that's actually, I'll use the podcast as a really good example for that. There are some podcast hosts that will charge their guests to come on. The reason they're able to, though, is they've got a massive audience and they've proven that they can deliver a lot of value to that person on.
Sure.
I can't do that. I'm just starting out. But what I can ask for in exchange is obviously I'm getting content and maybe a review on iTunes or a testimonial, or I can use their name on the website as far as like, hey, this is a featured guest. Like there's so many different ways that you can the exchange of value, it can be different, right? There's just be creative about it. And if you think more long term, you'll start understanding why there's value in, like you were saying, like getting those videos, those testimonials, because that's social proof, and social proof is very, very valuable.
Absolutely. So, I tell people all the time, if you don't have social proof as you're trying to pursue your greatness and your career or passion, don't expect to get very far. You know, that right now, like for me, every podcast I can get on to get more exposure, get out in front of people, because right now our world is going virtual. Like that's where it is. Zoom, WebEx, I have a couple of clients who are doing very, very well. Food product, service where they sell products to like, retail stores, grocery stores, the Walmarts, the Targets. They're doing well. Mortgages come out doing well. Finance, it depends on who you are. But a lot of people aren't doing well. And the way you have to pivot right now is you have to get out on more podcasts, more virtuals, more interactions. The more, because right now a lot of people, people aren't going to be hosts on guests on Good Morning America like they used to be. Like a lot of that right now is getting halted or done for a while. So if you can get on podcasts or Zooms or WebEx and get in front of people's audiences to share your message, to get them to get to your website, you're going to have a really hard time in this new world.
Yeah, agreed. I think especially with what we're going through right now, it's going to shift even more. It's really pushing the virtualization of our world even faster than it was previously, because now a lot of people that had never thought about it or even been exposed to it are now being exposed to it because they're working remotely from home if they still have their job. And even before we recorded, we were talking about social gatherings and how both of us are now thinking like, well, I still want to maintain those relationships. How can I do that? Well, let's just jump on Zoom and chat with those friends who we haven't seen. You can even have a coffee, a glass of wine. You can do dinner. Like tonight, my wife and I are going to be doing a virtual dinner with my parents, because every Sunday that's normally what we would do. And I don't want to lose that just because of the circumstances. So it's like, okay, what can we do? Let's just do a virtual one. And it's weird because it feels like you're right there with them chatting about like, oh, how was the week? How's this and how's that? And blah, blah, blah. And yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah. And that's called pivoting.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things, so I don't know if this is a good pivot or a transition, but I wanted to really talk about another section of your book that I think is incredibly relevant to what people are going to go through now or in any future crisis, is motivation versus inspiration. Because I think a lot of people they're going to feel stuck. They're going to feel down as far as their current circumstances. And then they're gonna say, I don't feel very motivated to go find work, go do this, go do that. Like they're gonna look to motivation as a way to like put themselves into action. I was hoping you could share your perspective on motivation versus inspiration, because I think it's a great message to help those people maybe reframe how they're thinking to get through this kind of situation.
So if you're looking for motivation to get through this global crisis, you might get through it for a short time. Motivation comes from the word locomotive, which we all know is to move in a short distance in a very powerful fashion. Like you're just a big, strong ox, but you don't go very far. You go from from 0 to 10 yards. Well, in life, you know, and I know going 0 to 10 yards gets you nowhere. You got to go 0 to 100 and beyond. And that's inspiration. So motivation comes from the word, again, locomotive, which means to move in a powerful fashion, in a short distance. Inspiration talks about breathing life into someone or something for a long-term, systemic, real change. Mel Robbins, who is a mentor and friend of mine, this is where I got it from, and I started doing some studying on it, and I loved her perspective and was spot on. If you're motivated, someone wants you to do something for them, for their gain, for a short period of time. When you're inspired, you literally are someone that always is just the first there, the last to leave. You're always, you come into the meetings lively, ready to go with solutions. If you're motivated, you probably just kind of want to complain about the problems. Richard Branson, who is an amazingly successful business mogul, said, the number one trait a leader has to possess is the ability to inspire their team with inspiration. You have to breathe life into others and into where they are. And so, like, I'm trying to help breathe life into people that are listening to this podcast. This will pass. But here's the question. Are you sitting back right now, griping, complaining about something that you know you can't change? Or are you doing like you and your wife are doing, having Zoom dinners with your parents? Are you doing more of the pivoting, trying to find ways to interact? Like my wife's birthday was March 21st, and we had to have a virtual Zoom with the family because no one wanted to go first with the coronavirus. So we did a virtual happy birthday song to her, and that's pivoting, right? Like me. A lot of my speaking events have been postponed. Well, I'm telling people, hey, you're postponed for a year? No, not a problem. You want to do like a Zoom and do like a little 30-minute kind of get your crowd excited about what we're going to talk about. I did this on Friday with a group. I had a group called Restoration Pro, had me talking to 25 of their insurance agents from across the state of North Carolina through an open Zoom call, right? 15, 30-minute talk, got them inspired, some action steps. Hey, anybody needs some coaching, consulting, please give me a call, shoot me an email, let's talk. That's where we're going. So if you don't have the ability to try to really work your network, leverage LinkedIn, leverage other types of things right now, face-to-face marketing right now is gone, and it might be a thing of the past once this is all over. I think we'll get back to some sort of degree of normalcy there, but it won't be like it used to be. So if you're not pivoting for that inspirational long-term change, but you're only motivated to get you from A to B or A to C, once it comes time to perform at D, E, F, and beyond, you'll run out of gas, and then you're not going to get where you want to go.
Yeah, very, very true. What would you say there is a method to build and fuel inspiration, as far as like if somebody's struggling with that, as far as finding inspiration? What would you suggest they do as an activity to go and help them build that within them?
They need to spend 10 to 15 minutes per day. Well, first things first, identify their primary why, right? Why? Because the why is going to fuel your drive, and your drive is where inspiration will come from, right? Because your inspiration comes from you're being driven to push through when everybody tells you you're making a mistake. You don't know what you're doing, Marcus. Don't go be a speaker. You're not going to be the next Tony Robbins. Go be a high school football coach. Go back into financial planning. Do that. So my drive, fueled by my why, pushed me through those 2.5 years of no on every paid speaking job. It pushed me through everybody saying, Marcus, what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you going to be a speaker? So you first need to identify your why. Now, I'm not saying take care of family, because that's a why, but go deeper. So for me, I grew up with a father who was highly educated, extremely successful in the first part of his life. By the time I was, from my birth till I was about 10. He lost his job at that time. He's burnt through all of his savings to put my brother and I through high school. It was the best education to get a chance to actually get out of DC and get into a better life. And I'm grateful, and I'm appreciative, and I love him for that. But when he passed away, he died a poor man. And from my age of 10 to 18, I was like 10 to 17. It was poor. I mean, we had no food in the refrigerator sometimes, or we get bugs in our cereal. Our heat wouldn't work. The AC was broken. And I never left my father's side when I could have gone to stay with my grandparents or whatever the case may be. But I never did that because that was my guy, and I was going to stay with him till the end. And my why is that I remember what that was like feeling for me. Having not be able to have money to go out with friends, or not being able to get places because our car was broken down, and not having food in the refrigerator because there was bugs, and I had to go to my grandparents to eat a lot because the dinner at our house was not good or couldn't really be eaten, or it was like bare minimum. So my why is fueled by what I saw as a young adult, the lifestyle that my father lived and I had to live. And that's the deep reason fueling behind taking care of my family to that why. So if you need inspiration, peel back the onion on your why, dig deep down to the core of what that why is and why you feel and why that why is key in your life. Then 15 minutes a day, focus on that why. Meditate, do goals to remind yourself, write down some things, journal to yourself why you need to do this. Take 15 minutes a day to focus on that why. Then that will help you become and get that consistent inspiration, or that inspirational being that you've been trying to get for so long. And that's what happened to me. I did that every day for 2.5 years, every day. I still worked, still did things, but I continue to remind myself why I wanted to be a speaker in the first place. And if I didn't have that mindset, I would have quit after the first couple months, for sure.
Yeah, I finding your why is a very, very common piece of advice from any coach, which, if there's that much commonality across the board, whether it's coaches, authors like Simon Sinek, even some of the most successful people in the world suggest, like, go figure out the real reason why you're trying to do whatever it is you're doing. And that's your fuel, right? When you're not feeling motivated, go back to that why, and that why will get you going again. So I really appreciate that. I liked the distinction that you made, because I feel that it is a really common excuse almost, yeah, that it's like, oh, I just didn't feel motivated. And if, when you dig a little bit deeper into that, like you're suggesting, you realize that, well, you can't rely on motivation. You have to rely on something different, because motivation is very fleeting. It's very short term. So yeah, no, I think that's really good. So yeah, we've covered a lot. I liked it. It's an inspiring conversation. Your book was actually really inspiring for me. It got me revisiting as far as like the reasons why I'm doing this podcast. And but coming out of the conversation, what would be that one thing that you suggest the audience focuses on, so that they could start pushing themselves in the right direction and level up?
They have to invest. And I'm not talking about a ton of money, because I don't want anybody to break the bank. I want them to be smart at this time in the world. But you need to invest in someone that can coach you or consult for you and help you get by, like this, you said, that hump. When I got coached back in 2018, that was the breaking point for me to go from struggling speaker, author, to then national, international, best-selling author, speaker. Because I had to learn how to reprogram, like you said earlier, myself to push in this direction. Now, I'm not telling you go hire some $10,000 a month coach, because to me, people like that, they don't need to be out there doing it, because unless you're Tony Robbins doing that, okay, fine. But like you said earlier, it's all about who you are, what you've been through. So there are some people that can do it. But most people don't have that real expertise to really charge that amount of money. So you want to find a reasonably priced individual to help you get from A to the finish line and beyond. Especially right now in the COVID virus and our times, you need someone who's been there before, who can pivot. that can show you different ways to engage potential customers, how to open up your Rolodex to really lean on your inner circle to what? Get yourself going. There's so many things you can do, but what happens is a lot of times we as people, we can't get past our own mental block because we're so focused on the negative, or we don't see our greatness or potential because we're so worried about trying to solve problems and negative images or negative things around us. So a coach, like happened to me, other people I know who are successful, it helps us to pivot and learn how to get out of our own way with really good processes and systems. So find someone that you can work with that can help you get from where you are to where you want to be in the most efficient, concise manner possible.
Great advice. And actually, one of the reasons why I started this podcast was to help kind of bridge that gap with the audience being entrepreneurs or people who are just looking to level up. And obviously, coaches like yourself featuring them so that you guys are reaching a wider audience and the entrepreneurs are now being exposed to just a wider group of different coaches, hoping that they're finding somebody that they really resonate with so that they can do exactly what you said there is find that person who's going to be able to help them get to that next level. So that was not prompted, by the way, just in case the audience is wondering. I did not tell Marques to share that. That's just what his advice is. So thanks for sharing. Where can people find you? So if they do want to reach out to you, learn more about you, where's the best place?
They can go to our website, www.marques, MARQUES, Ogden, OGDEN.com. Or you can email us at marques@marquesogden.com. So again, and this is why I tell you all the time, we have a coaching program, right? But we may not be the best fit for everyone. That's okay. Find someone that fits with you, that resonates, that you can say, wow, that experience is what I've been through. And that's why I feel I work with a lot of clients in such a short amount of time, because I've lost it all. Like, I'll be the first to tell you, I made a really bad decision as an entrepreneur, trusted a client that I shouldn't have. I stopped listening to my great personnel that I was paying a lot of money for, over 6 figures a year for that person. This is back in 2012. I was paying him almost $150,000 a year, and I didn't listen to him. And I didn't do what I should have done. And as a result of that, I lost it all. So I've been the person that's lost everything and made bad mistakes and had no money, and all his savings were gone, and looked in the bank house and $400. And that was like, wow, what am I going to do? So I'm telling you right now, find someone that really resonates with you, because you want someone that can really help you through these times and know that that person is someone that you can rely on, that is somebody that can understand who you are, where you're going, and what the challenges that you might be facing might be.
Awesome. I think that is a great way to wrap up this fantastic conversation. Marques, thank you so much for being a guest, and definitely looking forward to staying in contact and having future conversations.
Absolutely, man. Have a great day. Thanks for having me on, my friend.
Same to you. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Get Coached podcast. If you're looking for more information, you can head over to our website, which is getcoachedpodcast.com. You'll find the show notes for this and every other episode there. And if getting actionable advice every week from professional coaches is something you want more of, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.